Welcome Home Radio Podcast. Are you looking to buy or sell your home? Our team is here with answers to guide you through the buying and selling process. We encourage you to ask questions. Please comment on this show or visit us at welcomehomeradio.net for more information. Bringing real estate, lending, and education together in one place, and to help you make the right home decision for you and your family.
And welcome to Welcome Home Radio, where real estate, lending, and learning come together. It is July 16th. Happy Independence Month. I hope you had a great time with your family, friends on the 4th of July. I'm so sorry for those families that were in Kerrville and that disaster that took place down in the Hill Country. We are still praying for the families, praying for recovery. What a challenge it is down there. But Thom, happy 4th of July. Good to see you, sir.
Thank you so very, very much. It's a great month as far as that goes. Been able to see a lot of family this month, and so I'm excited about the prospects. And man, I tell you what, can you stop this rain? My grass is so green in the middle of July. I can't figure out what is going on.
Oh, you're just complaining because you got to get out and mow it like me.
Well, yeah.
Hey guys, we're still in our series of Your Turn to Ask. The questions continue to come in, and so we want to jump right in. We're sorry that Jeff is out sick today. We hope he recovers soon, but great to have Thom with us. And again, we're going to jump right into those questions. Welcome Home Radio. We are desiring to buy a home this summer, but need to know if it is a good time to buy. Wow. That's a pretty good question right now. Would you agree, Thom?
I would say that is a well-founded question, if nothing else.
Well, the short answer of it is yes. It is a great time to buy, but we have to play it smart. You have to plan, be ready. There's less buyer competition there was in the 20 to 22, more negotiating power on the buyer side. Home prices are somewhat leveling off. And of course, you can always refinance later if the goal is to own a home. But what to watch out for? Interest rates are still high-ish. Your monthly payment, you have to budget yourself. And not all homes are good deals. Therefore, making that decision, looking at the home and evaluating, that's through good negotiations, as well as look at many homes so that you get some good comps, good variables, and you find the home that you're happy with. Jumping into a home is nothing easy. It's the largest purchase that most of us will ever make in our lives. So therefore, take time. Don't rush the process. And Thom, I covered a lot there, but what do you have to add on that?
Well, in a nutshell, I think you're very on point with regards to, people asking when is it a good time to buy. It's always a good time to buy, and that sounds kind of like a frivolous answer or
cliche.
Very cliche, because we're in the mortgage business. We want to do mortgages. We want to sell houses, yada yada yada. So that's always what you're going to say. But I mean, for me to buy a house, it just has to have the right circumstances, the right situation. And people get really, I think, hung up on this interest rate thing. One of the things nationally, and I can't blame people for doing this, but nationally speaking, the polls say that a lot of people are hanging on to their homes and staying in them longer than the national average, because they did, cop a 3%, 3.5%, 2.75% interest rate. And that is a cherished animal. That's good financing. That's free money. But at the same time, if your situation has changed where now your work is in a different location and you're having to spend an hour and a half time in the traffic going and then an hour and a half coming back at night, or your family size has increased, or you just have outgrown the house you're in, there's nothing wrong with making the change to a rate that is consistent with what we've had for the last 50 years. And that's what I try to calm people. That's what I try to calm people about, is that our rates are really along the average of what rates have been for the last 50 years.
Well, you're true. Ever since they tracked the history of the real estate market and interest rates, 7.75 or 7.75 is the average interest rate on buying a home. You and I have purchased homes in the double digits. Mine was 13.5. I don't know what the cave you bought was, 18 or 20. I'm not sure, but you know.
Wow, you're an old man. I can't.
Well, one of the things, I do loans everywhere in the country, but if you notice with Thom and I, if you're in Texas, please notice every room needs a fan. Every room. Look at those fans going. They are keeping you cool. But he's right. It is always a good time to buy if you do your homework, if you get pre-approved. Make sure that you have. Right now, negotiating is in your favor. Temporary buy downs can be paid for as concessions. There's so many ways to go. Even ARMs are coming back a little bit for those that are struggling somewhat but want to get into that home. So I just challenge, it is a good time to buy, but do your homework. Don't take time or take away from getting wisdom, and getting wisdom through understanding, asking some questions. And I'll be honest, don't trust the internet. I will tell you right now, look and talk to a professional you trust, or you get aware of. So please be careful. Laissez-faire, as they say in France. Let the buyer beware. Okay, our next question. Uncle Blair, we need to downsize, but wondering if it's a good time to sell. Well, here you go, buyer. Here might be somebody looking at that. The short answer, yes, it is a good time to buy or sell, excuse me. It's realistic if we prepare. There are low inventories in certain areas. Buyer demand is still up. Home values are remaining historically high, and buyers are motivated right now. They want to get into a home if you're wanting, but they are sensitive to price, especially with rate, as we just talked about. We're in the 6.5 to 7.25. Overpricing a home is likely going to take longer to sell. So make sure you're price conscious. You'll need to factor in what you're going to do next as well. What is the opportunity for you in downsizing? Are you going to a townhome? Are you moving closer to grandkids? What is the purpose for the downsizing? Because I mean, right now I probably should be downsizing, but as Thom put it, we're stuck in certain aspects. I'm stuck in that my home's paid off, so I don't want to move. I don't have an interest rate to bear. I don't want to take a chance or do anything. I enjoy my home. So, and our kids can come back, and all the grandkids can come here at once. So, of course, Gigi loves that. But the best advice we can get in talking about is making sure the reasons for you to be downsizing, the reasons for you to change, and that you're comfortable with them. Set your limits. Again, get with a lender, get with a professional, get with a good realtor that understands pricing your home accurately, like a neighborhood expert, as they call them, that they know what homes are selling, what sold under duress, what didn't, what is the possibility. But you only can evaluate that. And most of us have equity in a home from when we purchased it. If we've been in a home any more than 5 years, you've got good equity. So it is a good time to sell. So, Thom, anything to add to that?
Well, I think, again, the points you're making are very accurate with regards to, and I hate just agreeing with you, but
the student has become the teacher. No, I'm teaching.
It seems like that, but I think some of the wariness people have, again, is, well, if the market is such that I can generate a good deal, then I'm going to have to be realistic about selling for a decent deal as well. And I think you pointed out, which is necessary for our listeners to hear this, in the middle of July here, 2025, we are seeing areas where house pricing is coming down, where it's getting softer. So you have to be realistic about selling your house, of course, with that softening of pricing. But on the flip side, you're also going to see sellers that are in the same boat, that when you downsize to their house, they're going to be more willing to perhaps give concessions or help with closing costs or negotiate on price a little bit more actively.
I think those are valid points. And again, take time. You shouldn't be in a rush. If you're downsizing, what are those reasons? And then where are you going to? What's that plan? Generally, somebody's moving for a reason. A good friend of mine, a veteran Navy captain, was leaving Dallas because his grandkids are in Florida. So he wanted to get his wife close to Florida, closer to those grandkids, and he was retiring. So he could go play golf, she could play with the grandkids, and everybody's happy. That's a great reason to make that change. But if you're making a change just to be making it, maybe capitalizing, make sure your next step or your plan in that is where are you going? Because I looked at it, we were going to sell our home and move closer to our church family, closer to some friends. But then all of a sudden, I'm like, wait a minute, we're going to get a smaller home for the same value that we keep this one. Why would I take the downsize? That doesn't make sense. Plus, the HOA dues were going to be exorbitant.
Oops.
Yeah, I'm an anti-HOAer, so I wasn't interested in paying more. Thank goodness where prices haven't changed on our HOA in 10 years. So we're very blessed by that. But again, downsizing, it is still a good time to sell, but make a plan. Sit down, have somebody that asks the right questions, and you answer them truthfully for yourself. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's a decision to stay like us, or maybe it is time. Maybe it is a good one. You'll know if you have that right person that's there for your benefit, not just to do business. You need to test out those folks. Final question for the series. Welcome Home Radio. In making decisions, we are wondering, what is the value of our home really? Wow. Try to find out. We don't want to take off the street. We don't want to take, what we guess or what we think we imagine it is. The most accurate non-appraisal method that you could utilize that I'm aware of, and Thom, correct me if I'm wrong, is a CMA, or a comparative and market analysis from a realtor or a lender. A lender can provide that sort of thing as well. I provide them all the time, but it takes in recent as well as past 10 years appraised homes in your area and let you know what's the trends, what are the values, what's going on. This is where appraisers go to. So to be aware, we want to look at square footage, beds and bath, lot size, conditions and upgrades. And that's a lot of that we're not known because they only take in the outside, what they can view from the outside, not inside. And then of course, location. People buy on location, especially young families, school districts, ease of access, resources. For me, Thom, I don't know about you, but for me, I want to live within a mile of a hospital, a police station, or a fire department. Why? They don't lose power. And that grid typically is a mile square. So guess what? I'm not going to lose power. If you're outside of those, yeah, you might want to look at a home generator system, especially here in Texas, where the grid is questionable. I'm not saying it's bad. But I'm also not saying it's good. It could easily be attacked and we could be down for a while. So,
well, I used to hate the fact that I'm within a mile, and so I hear not only the police but the fire every time they take off.
That's just a reminder you're not going to lose power, Thom.
That's exactly right. Once I was in Snowmageddon, about 3 or 4 years ago during Snowmageddon, I was like, my friends are calling and saying, Thom, is your power on? Like they wanted to come over, and I'm like, no, I'm freezing. No. I didn't want them coming over. And
was that an admission? Thom, did you
Well,
just admit on
now
the internet?
as I'm getting older, I've got to realize that I've got to be, coming through with the final honesty stuff. So
Wow.
yeah, that's a true confession.
Well, friends, now if you're one of those ones that called Thom to see if he could come over, you know what he's like now.
You heard it here firsthand.
So again, is there any other way you can find out the value, Thom, that you can think of that would be true
Well,
comps?
you did mention it kind of as an aside, but you could pay for a professional appraisal. And the professional appraisal that sometimes gets you in a box. Of course, that's a shot of what your home value is at a spot in time. So it's going to be a more expensive type of third-party opinion than a CMA or a BPO is going to be. There are pros and cons with getting the appraisal part.
Just realize, folks, Uncle Thom's willing to spend your money. Uncle Blair doesn't want you to spend money. But that is true. Yes, you could pay for an appraisal. That would give you an accurate. But here, Thom, how long if that appraisal is done, can you sell your home for more if it comes around?
Well, you could sell it for more. That's correct. But with the BPO, you also don't have a situation where, you have the same situation with the BPO. So you can do it both ways as far as that goes. I don't want to get married to the appraiser as far as that's concerned. But I do want to throw out that there's a third party that can be used for essentially finding value. And those third parties sometimes will take out the emotional part of trying to get a listing from you. They'll take out the emotional part of, what ifs, and they'll take it and say, look, if this is, the realtor is going to be saying, well, if you need to sell it now, it's worth this. If you want to put it on the market, it's worth this. Well, I don't want a couple of values. I want to see what the real market is reflecting. And an appraiser is going to go back and not use comps that are older than 6 months. A matter of fact, they're going to try to focus on the last 60 or 90 days worth of sales when they give you a current valuation.
And again, I would remind you, no matter what you take in, it's only worth what somebody's willing to pay for it.
Kind of, that's the bottom line, right?
We can all have those expectations. And what happens if somebody hasn't sold a home in your neighborhood in the last 6 months? All of a sudden now you're working off of old data or perceived data. So it's a scientific wild ass guess, a swag. And so this is the ways you can, huh?
That's what that means, huh?
That's a technical term in the education world. You should know that.
You what, I just learned something I hadn't heard before. So.
Well, I use that term all the time in economics when I teach economics at the university. Doesn't everybody? So again, in making a decision on selling your home, what is your home value or what you should target? It's always going to be a range. Accept that. No matter whether it's appraisal or not, they're going to come in with so forth. But again, how fast you want to sell it, realtors will give you that, and a good estimate of a CMA is free. An appraisal is going to cost you some money. You'll know something more.
Oops. A little dead time there from the bouncing of the sound of Blair's voice against our ears. Darn. But he'll be back any moment, I'm sure. But again, to complete that thought, I want us to be a realistic with regards to what our expectations would be. And I think that's what you hear from us as far as our guarded answers with regards to the question. Making sure that we feel comfortable and that we also are realistic with the fact that there's only going to be a specific buyer for our property. It's not like there's 100 people lined up to come and grab my house. So because of that, you very much have to pay that attention to the specific person and the specific circumstances and situations around selling your residence. And that's always emotional, as Uncle Blair will tell you. That's always an emotional event.
Well, sure it is. Sorry for my connection problems. I apologize. But I think we've covered a good bit. We've answered these questions. Again, a good time to sell, good time to buy. And again, the critical piece, what is my home really worth? I appreciate everyone's questions. Continue to bring them. Send them at welcomehomeradio.net. You can put those there. See it right down below on questions. And don't hesitate. Thom, you got plans for this summer? Any big plans?
Well, not that I'm going to talk on the internet about, but it does deal with my daughter and her boyfriend. So I know. Yep.
Congratulations.
Bad time.
Yeah, we've got 2 granddaughters coming, and Gigi is going nuts. She's got big plans. They're going to use our swimming pool as much as possible because they live in Colorado. They don't get to swim as much as they used to. So
funny. That's good.
Oh, it's going to be fun. So, guys, God bless. Thank you for taking time. Thank you for keeping the questions coming. Remember, we're here to help you get to CTC, clear to close. Whatever your options, whatever your desires are, don't forget to ask us. I'm Blair Thomas.
And I'm Thom Hulme.
God bless.
Welcome Home Radio production provided by Lunatic Digital. Check the listing of this podcast for the links to our sponsors. And don't forget to like, share, and follow us on social media. Visit welcomehomeradio.net for more information. This was a Lunatic Digital production. Visit lunaticdigital.com for all your digital needs.